What's up guys, I'm DK Wrestler, and in today's video, I'm going to give you guys a top 5 list of my favorite Breaking Bad Funko Pops. So let's get right to it. Because after all, I am the one who knocks. Like,
comment,
and subscribe for more content. Notification bell?
Oh.
So this week is the 15-year anniversary of Breaking Bad, and we do have a podcast on the channel releasing later on during the week, so I thought it would be cool to do some sort of video to commemorate this 15-year anniversary. But enough of my blabbering, let's kick off with my number 5 pick. So coming in at number 5 on my list, it is the Walter White Common Pop. Now this pop is really cool. It's obviously from that memorable scene where he is standing in the middle of the desert road where he has the green shirt and his underwear is showing off. So I really like how they pulled that off, especially because the one part of his shirt is tucked in and then the other is not. And then of course he is holding his blaster, I'm gonna call it because I can't say the G word here on YouTube. They did a pretty decent job, especially with the way that the head sculpt is with the glasses and the hair, especially for a pop made in 2014 when Funko wasn't really putting as much detail into Funko Pops at that point like they are now. Coming in at number 4 on my list, it is the Crystal Ship Pop Rides with Jesse Pinkman. Now this pop is really cool. I actually do own this in my collection, and it has gone up in price since I had bought it back in 2016. This pop is pretty decent because it's not the same common Jesse Pinkman that you normally see as the singular one in the lineup. It's a completely different outfit for Jesse Pinkman, which is why I do enjoy this. Obviously, the Crystal Ship was a huge part of the entire series overall, and especially in the first season of Breaking Bad. So it's cool that Funko ended up doing a rides of the Crystal Ship, especially because you do see the detail along the side of the vehicle where you do see some dirt along the bottom of the vehicle. So I do enjoy how they did that. But of course you do see that minor disadvantage of just the square being cut off of the top of the roof there to fit the pop in there, instead of figuring out a way to show off the pop with the rides. But overall, it's still one of the coolest rides that has probably been ever made as terms to a Funko Pop. Coming in at number 3 on my list, it is the Dead Gustavo Fring, or on the Funko app, I believe it says Bloody Gustavo Fring. Now this pop is really cool. I do own this pop also, and I like the detail involved in this pop where obviously you do have the half face that is blown off because of one of the final episodes during season 4 where the bomb is strapped to Hector's wheelchair, and then he basically walks out after that with half of his face blown off, which was a pretty crazy scene when I first seen that. And I like the detail involved where obviously he's still kind of like fixing up his tie there when he's pretty much dead. And then you even have the facial expression involved with the other side of the face where his eye is partially closed. And I wonder how this pop would have turned out if it was made with like the detail involved with pops today, because I bet that you can get a crazy detail with the one side of the face there for today's standards of Funko Pops. But this pop being released in 2014, I think it definitely still holds up to some standards for today's details as terms to the Funko Pops, especially because not only do you get to see the like skeleton head, but you do get to see the insides involved with the blood and guts. Coming in at number 2 on my list, it is the Heisenberg Funko Pop. And this pop definitely has a little bit of a sentimental value for me because this was actually the second Funko Pop that I had ever bought. The first day I bought Pops, I had bought 2. One was a Buzz Lightyear, which was the first one I bought, and then it was Heisenberg after that. So this pop is really cool, and I do like the detail, obviously, of him having the shades because obviously he's Heisenberg, he's not Walter White. He's got the top hat on. He's got his leather jacket, or I don't think it was a leather jacket, but it was just a black jacket. And he's holding the bag of the blue crystal meth, which I do enjoy. And of course, he is holding the blaster in the other hand. So even though it isn't entirely, once again, meeting up the standards of today's detail in terms of Pops, at least the arms aren't entirely to the sides like a lot of the older Funko Pops, especially when one's being occupied holding a blaster and the other one is holding the bag of blue crystal meth. So I do enjoy this, and I would like to see a new Heisenberg at some point, because I feel like, especially with the detail involving with the like wrinkles on his face, I think that would be sweet to see made in 2023. But before we move on to my number one pick for the best Breaking Bad Funko Pop, I have two honorable mentions for this top 5 list. So the first honorable mention I have on this list is Saul Goodman, of course, the sleazy lawyer of the series. And I think they did a pretty decent job with this, especially with the attire. He's wearing the pink dress shirt with the blue tie, which I guess he's kind of known for also, is the different shirts and ties he wears. He's got a slick back hair. He's even got, and I didn't even realize this until now, I believe he has an earpiece on the one ear as terms to the pop. And of course, he does not have the simplistic arms to the side pose with either of his arms. He's got one arm basically pointing out because he's trying to do some sort of commercial or infomercial, or just trying to, like, you know, bargain a deal with you. And then with the other one, is just his hand is sticking out like that. So I really like how they did that. And I mean, Saul Goodman, he's a cool character overall. I mean, cool enough to where he got his own series of Better Call Saul, which there was the Jimmy McGill Funko Pop, but that was not eligible in my opinion for this list, because that is Better Call Saul, not Breaking Bad for this list. So the Saul Goodman Pop, still pretty decent. Thought about putting this on this list, but there's just so many good Breaking Bad Pops to choose from. And the second and last honorable mention for this list is the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive blue Heisenberg. Now, overall, I do think it's a decent pop. Obviously, it is the same molding as the Heisenberg I mentioned in my number 2 spot, but of course, they're basically basing off of the color of the blue crystal meth, and I kind of like the approach that they did it with, because it is more of like a glitter aspect to this, where you do see some white speckles instead of just like one single color like you do see with a lot of different Funko Pops, especially Pops made back in the day. And I mean, I do like how they kept the hat, the glasses, and his goatee black, so that those at least stood out from the entire pop being blue. And I thought about putting this on this list, but I just felt, you know what, keep one Heisenberg on the actual list, and obviously it was the one that is my second pop that I ever owned, and that I still have, and I'm never gonna give up in my collection. And now, coming in at number 1, my favorite Funko Pop within the entire lineup of Breaking Bad, and that is the San Diego Comic-Con 2014 exclusive beat up Jesse Pinkman. Now, this pop holds up to today's standards. Like, especially seeing this pop back then, it was pretty crazy to see the amount of detail put into it, because it was just kind of a like little sneak peek of what Funko would do later on as terms to detail with Funko Pops. I mean, overall, I love how you have the yellow jacket, you got the blood all over the white shirt, which really pops out well. In each of his hands, he has an object where he has a stack of money in his one hand, and then you can see in his other hand, you do see the detail of the tattoo on his hand. And of course, with the Funko Pop, the two different eyes, where one is starting to shut, but the other one is completely shut, and you have the coloring of the bruising involved, not just with the eye, but all over the face too, with the different scuffs, which I do really enjoy. And as of the recording of this video, this pop has a total of $900 Canadian on the Funko app, making it one of the most valuable pops as terms to this set, and probably one of the most valuable pops to buy on the secondary market overall as terms to Funko Pops. And I mean, like I keep mentioning, this thing definitely does hold up standards to today's details as terms to Funko Pops, so that's definitely why this pop is the number 1 Funko Pop in my opinion for the Breaking Bad lineup. Anyways, guys, that is going to be the end of today's video. If you enjoyed my top 5 list of Breaking Bad Funko Pops, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. But that's it for today's video. Definitely stay tuned this Friday for our upcoming Breaking Bad themed podcast. And I hope to see you guys in the next video. 1, 2, 3, I'm out of here.